Bitcoin has been unable to break out above 31,000, and in today we've seen a huge amount of volatility as the price swings have gone all the way up from 31 all the way down to about 29,000. And in today's video, I'm going to go ahead and cover some very key Bitcoin metrics, including liquidation levels that are going to be incredibly important to understand in the future and what that means for Bitcoin. So before we get started, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to follow me on Twitter. Be sure to like the video. Greatly appreciate it. And we're going to go ahead and get right into it. So Bitcoin chart TA, we have here a massive red candle and a volume of about 1,800 Bitcoin being traded in about an hour. Now, this is in addition to another huge candle, which you have about 750 Bitcoin trading hands. And we've seen here that we've found a little bit of support. Now, previously, I talked about the 200-week moving average being a strong area of support. And so we're starting to actually see it come and act as a strong support level for Bitcoin. And that's at about 30,000 right now. Now, below that level, we have a support of 29,600. So Bitcoin has been up and actually come up here to about 31K, unable to break out, and then immediately dumped following that attempted breakout. So you may ask yourself, what's going on here with the Bitcoin price? We've seen some incredible volatility today. And so one thing I want to remind you guys about is that when I had my video a couple days ago, I talked about the options that were set to expire for today, and we saw that the max pain price was about 26,000. We had mostly calls and a little bit of puts as well. But just know that we kind of expected to see some very extreme volatility heading into today as we see catalysts kind of move the price higher and move the price lower. And so that's one of the reasons why we've seen just this weird setup and massive volatility here with the Bitcoin price. Now, you may ask yourself, what happened as the catalyst to kind of cause this huge dump that we've seen? And the Wall Street Journal reported recently that the SEC says that the spot Bitcoin ETF filings are inadequate. So they came out with this morning, and that caused that huge sell-off in the Bitcoin price. Now, what's interesting to note about this is not that it means that this is done, okay? What it means is that they're going to have a chance to change some of the language and refile, okay? Very important to know the difference. And people who are saying, okay, well, that's it for Bitcoin spot ETFs have not been reading through the entirety of the point being made here in this story that was broken by the Wall Street Journal. And so what this means is that a Bitcoin spot ETF, likely we're going to wind up seeing refilings for these Bitcoin spot ETFs, and we're going to see a refiling of this, and we will eventually get a Bitcoin spot ETF. I am very confident that we will wind up seeing one. I think this is just a bump in the road. And as far as I'm concerned, it also gives me an opportunity to accumulate before we see the next major run up when these spot ETFs are approved. Now, what's also interesting about that is that Fidelity also files for a Bitcoin spot ETF. And they've followed the Blackrock model. Now they're going to have to refile again for this Bitcoin spot ETF. So we're seeing a number of these big Wall Street titans of asset managers that are going and filing for Bitcoin spot ETFs. And the reason for that is because there is demand from their clients. Their clients say, we want Bitcoin, we want some sort of exposure. And so they're trying to get these spot ETFs filed. Now, what's also interesting about that is if we go ahead and kind of juxtapose this and put this into our current position right now with the price, we can see that the price has come down a bit, but we've seen some very strong support here at the 200 hourly and then down here at 29,600. Now, if we zoom out and we take a look at the daily, we can see here that this area that Bitcoin's in right now has been an area in which it's been before, back in early April. We've seen some strong support here in this region. So I think that as long as we stay above the support here at 29.6, we're going to be in a good position to eventually push above 31,100. Next, I want to go ahead and talk about the liquidity heat map. So I've been searching for a free-to-use liquidity heat map for Bitcoin for some time now, and I think I finally found one that I really like and that is free to use. This is going to be on Trader under their free tools and liquidity maps. But what's interesting to note about this liquidity map here is it's showing you the breakout of the liquidity levels at each price point. So at the bottom here, we have the price points, and on the left here, on this axis, we have the amount of liquidations. And so we've seen here in the left, these are your long liquidations, and on the right, here are your short liquidations. Definitely recommend you guys come and check this out and take a look for yourself. You can sort this by 3x, 5x, and 10x liquidation. Now, what we've seen here is that there's a massive number of these short liquidations starting at about 31,500. Now, if we take a look at our Bitcoin chart TA, we can see that 31,500 is a key level here. Put it at about, we're going to put in a line just so we can get an idea of where this would be. This level right here is an absolutely key level. We put it at about 31,500. If Bitcoin can actually chop into this area right here, it came very close earlier in the day, but if it can actually push above this level, we can see that there are a huge number of these liquidations that would occur at 31,500. And then as you move higher from 31,500 and go all the way up to about 35,300, there's a massive number of short positions, both 3x and 5x and 10x within this little bubble here at about the $4,000 width or range. So from about 31,500 all the way here to about 35,300. If Bitcoin can push into these prices, that means these traders that have these liquidations set up would be liquidated, and we'd wind up seeing a monster short squeeze for Bitcoin. So this area right here, if Bitcoin has some strength and we see some strength, we could wind up seeing it push even higher. Now, I've previously talked about the regions where I think Bitcoin can wind up, and this kind of confirms to me the areas that I feel are on the table, and that would put us at about 35,000 up here in this region right here. If Bitcoin gets some strong momentum, we could absolutely see 35,000 before I would say probably within the next couple of months. We can definitely see 35,000 in that region. These liquidations would happen. They would be vicious. They'd be violent, and we'd wind up seeing the price moved up even higher. Now, another very important point to realize about this liquidity map is that on the other side, we take a look at the long liquidations, and there's barely anything until you get all the way up here to about 23,400. Now, on the other side of things, if Bitcoin went below 23,500, we could wind up seeing a cascading effect of longs getting liquidated and the price moving lower. But that being said, there's a lot of space between where it is right now at 30,000, about 200, and having to go all the way back here to about 23,400. So that's a huge area. In this case, we'd mark that out here at about right here, okay? So we marked that out about here. That's a massive amount of price action, and it would take a large, I think, black swan event to actually get us down here to this point here. And if we did get down to 23,500, we could see significant liquidations all the way down to, I would probably say, 21,000. I'd put it in about 21,000 level. So Bitcoin right now is sandwiched right between two massive liquidity levels. However, there's a lot less of these long liquidations going on over here, and they're farther away in price, okay? So that's the important takeaway here from this liquidity heat map. I will be keeping an eye on this and updating you guys on the changes as they happen. Okay, so speaking of liquidations, we're going to go ahead and take a look at our Bitcoin liquidations for today, and we can see that on today we've had just about an equal amount of long and short liquidations for Bitcoin. We've seen long liquidations go to 36 million, and the short liquidations go to 28 million. So that's also what we've seen in the price, right? We've seen the price kind of go up and then come back down, and now it's kind of settled in the middle. The other thing I want to talk about is our Ethereum chart TA. So Ethereum has been also kind of lagging right now for the Bitcoin price. And we've seen this crazy candle here. Again, long wick to the upside, long wick to the downside. And we've seen that this support level at 1820 seems to be fairly strong, and it's holding for now. So as long as it holds this support level right here, I'm feeling pretty bullish and positive about Ethereum in the short term. Now, if it loses this, we could wind up seeing another capitulation all the way down to about 1740, or about 1740 here to the 200-day moving average, and then a little bit higher than that. I would also say maybe about 1800 or so. You're going to wind up seeing additional support there as well. Now, I also want to talk about the macro picture and what happened today. Very important report that came out. We talked about the PCE, what they call the PCE, the personal consumption expenditures that came out. This is very important because the PCE numbers that came out, if you take a look at the month over month, we can see here that from January to May this year, we've seen a decrease, a pretty consistent decrease in the inflation rate for the PCE. Okay, very good information. Very important to know that if the inflation level continues to head down, the Fed is going to have to pause, and they're not going to be able to raise rates because inflation is coming down. This is bullish for Bitcoin. This is bullish for crypto, and it's very important to realize that when the Fed pauses, the next step after that will be a decrease, and then that will also be bullish for Bitcoin and crypto as well. All right, so that's all the information I've got for you guys today. Have a fantastic weekend, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow me on Twitter for the most up-to-date information.